and hopefully everybody will be able to hear this. But it'll be interesting to see what the actual reproduction is going to be like. So yeah, here we go. So I'm trying this on, basically it's an internal mic on the helmet. So should be interesting to see how it sounds. I'm going to put the visor down so I don't get some wind noise, so that might change the audio slightly. But yeah, the microphone's very comfortable. It's basically a very cheap microphone that I picked up from Sports Bike Centre. I think it cost about 16 quid or something delivered. It's got a 3.5mm jack plug, and the idea is that it should hopefully be able to pick up all the sound internally. And the reason I'm testing this now is that I'm doing a trip in April down to France and Spain. So I'll be heading down to the south of France, to just south of Bordeaux for the first night, and on the second night I'm driving from a place called Landon in France down to Torrevieja, which is just south of Alicante in Spain, because I have some relatives that live there. And by the way, local time here is just coming up just after kind of 6:15 in the evening, so it's actually getting quite dark now. So I purposely left it to this time because I wanted to see what the low light capability was like with this camera as well. The only thing that I found with this, if I use this with the app, and because it connects to Wi-Fi, it cuts out the Chiggy that I have, which is the Chiggy GPS. So I've got to figure out a way of connecting it via Bluetooth instead, because if I do it via Wi-Fi, as I said, it cuts out the Chiggy, which isn't very good. So that's going to be an interesting one, trying to get that sorted out. So we'll see how it goes, but it's definitely an interesting test. And on my Chiggy, by the way, you can see that it's flashing there at 3.1 bar at the moment. There's nothing wrong. I don't actually have the TPMS sensors enabled on this. For some reason you need to buy that separate, and I'm not forking out 60 quid on something that I can actually get into on the menu. So that's why I said I'd leave that. But normally what I'd have there is I'd have Google Maps up, but for some reason on the Wi-Fi, well, I know what it is a conflict. You can only have one thing connected to the Wi-Fi at the time, although that's open to debate. But certainly with the older Ghost XL cameras, it doesn't have the ability to connect more than one spot. So we'll see how it goes. This isn't going to be too much of a long trip, by the way. As I said, I just wanted to try this out and see how it goes. But the idea is that in April I'll be doing that trip down to France and Spain. I won't be videoing the entire thing, but what I will be doing is certainly videoing some of the more interesting parts, which is the road from Pau down to the Col de Porrelet, because that road is epic. I've driven that in a car quite a few years ago. Oh yeah, it's more than 20 years ago in fact, and that road is absolutely stunning, and I've always wanted to do it on a bike, and I never got the opportunity to up until this year. So I'm definitely going to be doing that part, and I'm also going to be going down to a place called Hesca and Bisca and Zaragoza, and then from Zaragoza down to Torrevieja, which, as I said, is just south of Alicante. So it should be an interesting trip. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not coming back the same way because I decided it was probably just going to be too much mileage coming back up through Spain and France again, although I am going back to northern Spain, but I'm kind of cheating slightly insofar that I'm getting the ferry back from Santander back to Plymouth. and that's 21 hours on the ferry. I'm actually quite looking forward to that because I quite enjoy ferries. And that particular ferry has got some very good reviews as well with Brittany Ferries, so that should be good. And on the route over, I'm going from Poole down to Cherbourg because that was the quickest way for me, because I live in Bristol, and it's about a 2-hour drive from Bristol down to Poole, and then it's only 4 hours on the ferry. But then it's like a 7.5-hour drive from Cherbourg down to Langon, sorry, where I'm staying the first night. But it's a very early start then. The day after, I'll be getting up about 5 a.m. One, to avoid the traffic out of Langon, because seemingly it's horrendous. But two, I want to make an early start because a lot of the tourist traffic that go to Port de Carolay are camper vans. And those camper vans, if you get stuck behind one of them, you can be stuck there for a long time because they're pretty much limited to maybe 30-40k an hour. And it's a pain in the ass because I remember doing it in a car. It's maybe not so bad on a bike because I think there's probably a good opportunity to overtake every now and again. But yeah, it's going to be a pain in the ass to get stuck behind those things. So they tend to go a little bit later in the day. So if I go at the start of the day type thing, and I'm thinking before 9 o'clock in the morning, it'll probably be a little colder as well. That's the only thing. But it'll be good. The bike that I'm using is the bike that I'm on right now for that trip. It's the BMW K1600 SE. There's just under 8,000 miles on it. I've just had it serviced as well. There's a brand new front tyre on it. I only replaced the back tyre on it actually quite recently, about 2 months ago, but I haven't been using it because here in the UK where I am, the weather has been absolutely atrocious. I mean, it was winter after all, but there was a period from the end of December through to the end of January where it rained every single day, and quite heavily too. So I just thought, you know what, leave the bike and we'll see what happens. But there you go, it's just one of those things, eh? So the road that I'm on at the moment is the main road from Pill into Bristol. It's quite a busy road. It's a 30-mile-an-hour limit for most of this road end, except for the previous bit that you saw I was doing 40. That's a 40-mile-an-hour zone, but this is always a very, very busy road because it also is the side road back to Portishead as well, and it's another way to get to the M5 if you're heading north or south, which is quite a good thing. It's always a busy road though, and one of the big problems on this road is there's a lot of accidents on here as well, especially during the winter, because we get a lot of rainfall here, and because it's such a steep road, what tends to happen is the rain and water basically turn this road into like a cascading stream, and then it freezes, and it's like really, really dangerous black ice. I've been caught out a couple of times in the car by that. I tend to only use I'm a bit of a fair weather rider, except when I'm doing kind of long trips, because you're always going to get a spell of bad weather. But I tend to leave the bike at home when when the weather's really bad. Mind you, I have been using it a lot more over the last couple of weeks because the weather has improved quite significantly, and the temperature is starting to rise here as well. So we had anything above kind of 10 degrees I consider warm for the UK. So it's all good. Okay, we're into a 20 now, unfortunately, which boils my piss, these 20-mile-an-hour zones. You can see, look, there's nothing ahead, but it's 20 miles an hour. It's even worse in Wales, because you go through Wales and there's 20-mile-an-hour zones everywhere. It's just absolutely ridiculous that they brought that blanket 20-mile-an-hour zone into towns and villages. I can understand 20 miles an hour, in certain areas or whatever, but, to have a kind of a blanket 20-mile-an-hour zone is just absolutely ridiculous. And up here it goes back to 30 again. So I don't know why they've done that. Maybe it's because we're coming up on the Ashton Gate Stadium here, so you get a lot of pedestrians here on match days as well, going down to Ashton Court. Oh, sorry, not Ashton Court, Ashton Gate. So there you go, we're back to 30 again. So this is the Ashton Gate underpass in Bristol. And we're coming through here. We'll see Ashton Gate in a few minutes, by the way. Traffic is still pretty busy because it is Friday. Everybody and their uncle is driving everywhere, so you'll see what I mean. I'm not going to filter here because there's no point, because traffic is pretty heavy on the other side here as well. But we shouldn't be too long. Hopefully the audio is coming out okay in this. It'll be interesting to see what the actual audio is like through this. But yeah, let's go on a bit of a faster route and we'll head back. So what I'm doing here is we're coming up towards the Bristol Ring Road. This is a 40-mile-an-hour zone. This is always a very, very busy stretch of road as well. A lot of bikes using this particular road as well. As you'll see, we just passed one there. Hello, how are we doing? So hopefully he'll let me in. Yes, he will. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. So again, 40 miles an hour along here, but there is a nice long stretch here just past the roundabout, which is a 60-mile-an-hour zone. So hopefully it'll be a good test for the wind noise on this as well. You're never going to get rid of all wind noise. It doesn't matter how good the screen is. It doesn't matter what type of bike you're driving. On the K1600 it's not too bad because there's such a tall screen on this anyway, and I'm quite tall. I'm 6'2", and I don't get a lot of wind noise, but where I do get it is on the top of my helmet. And what I'm thinking about doing is buying a little kind of one of those screen extenders that go up here. So we'll see how that goes. But we can see here that traffic is still quite busy here in Bristol, even around the ring road as well. It's always busy. So here we come around the roundabout here, and we'll be able to speed up to 60 miles an hour in a minute, which is quite nice. And we'll see how that goes. There we go. So we're into national speed limit here now, which is good. Well, of course, it's a double white line, and you always get these knobs that will just do like 40 miles an hour in a 60. Again, buzz my piss, because these are the guys that cause congestion, especially on motorways. You see guys, you know, in the middle lane doing 55-60 miles an hour, and nobody in the inside lane. I was in Germany quite recently, and well, not quite recently, maybe last year, and the police there have a zero tolerance. If you stay in the outside lane, you can get a serious fine if you do that. And if you don't go with the flow of traffic, as they say, or if you impede the traffic in any way, you can get I think it's up to 6 points and up to a €1,500 fine. It should be that here as well, in my opinion, because I'm quite convinced that on the and we're on to dual carriageway here now, so we can hit 70, which is good. And the dickhead in front of us decided he was going to speed up as well, but we're going to overtake him. But yeah, fun and games, and back in again. But yeah, good fun. As you can see, it's got very dark very quickly. One of the things I've noticed about this time of the year, and it's the same every year, is that there doesn't seem to be any twilight anymore. It's either just light or it's dark. There doesn't seem to be any in between at all. So, I don't know, maybe it's just my imagination, but that's the way it's gone over the last couple of years. The other thing that I'm looking at here is I've got a live view on my camera, on my phone, sorry, which is quite cool, but it's connected via Wi-Fi, and as I said, because it's connected via Wi-Fi, I can't use the Chiggy for navigation, so that's a bit of a pain in the ass. I could use my phone, but I like having the live view on here as well, so we'll have to figure out something there on that one. But there you go. We're going to be turning off in a few minutes, so I'm purposely slowing down, and I can't overtake here anyway. So we're going to go back on a country road back towards Pill, and it's coming up on a 40 now anyway, so there we go. This is my turn off here. So we're heading towards Nailsea and Clevedon, well, the road towards Nailsea and Clevedon. I do love this bike. It's such a delight to drive, it really is. Plenty of power, but it's like sitting on an armchair. Fantastic, I love it. Cruise control is superb on it. The throttle control is superb. Gear change is superb. I do look after it. No expense spared on servicing type thing, and I do some of my own servicing myself. So the simple stuff like oil and filter changes. But anything outside of that, I bring it over to a place called CMC over in Newport. Those guys are superb there. CMC Bikes in Newport. They're in South Wales. They're absolutely superb. The servicing team there, I can't remember the guy's name, but really nice guy, and they know their stuff there. They really do. And the technicians they have working there are really great guys. I've been over there a few times, when they've been servicing my bike. Things like making sure that timing was alright, and doing coolant flushes and brake line checks and all that type of thing. I did have a problem when I bought this bike. That literally the day that I bought it, one of the oxygen sensors went doolally on it, but it was all in the warranty, and they did it there and then that day. I bought the bike in CMC up near Birmingham. Drove it back, and as I was coming back into Bristol, the warning light came on, and I have a GS911 hex tool, which tells you what the error was, and it was the oxygen sensor. Had gone doolally on it, but rang CMC and they said, no problem, can you get over to Newport today? And I said yes, no problem at all. So I drove the bike off to Newport, quite worried, thought it was going to blow up the engine or something, but thankfully it wasn't. It was only an oxygen sensor, it was a faulty one. So brought it over to Newport, handed the keys over to the guy. Half an hour later there was a new oxygen sensor installed. Luckily they had one in stock, because they had ordered two for another bike that was bought there a couple of weeks beforehand that had exactly the same issue, and the guy couldn't get over to them in time. So they were able to they give me his one because it's exactly the same part. That's the good thing about BMW parts, by the way, especially on their bigger bikes. They tend to be a lot of them are interchangeable. Certainly things like hex size heads and all of that type of thing. Oil filter sizes, they tend to be kind of the same all the time, so that's quite nice. But I love this road, by the way. It can be a dangerous bloody road though, but I do love it because it's a real twisty up through a forest, as you can see here. I'm not going too fast, as you can see. I'm a bit of a lazy driver, by the way. I'm not a speed demon. I mean, I know any biker looking at this now is probably thinking, bloody hell, Stuart, what's going on? You should be ripping that. But I like staying nice and handy, and I want to keep my license as well, because I love motorbikes. I absolutely adore them. I've had motorbikes in one way, shape or form since I was 13. My first bike was a scrambler, and I was addicted. The moment I started that bike, I was absolutely addicted, and I knew I was never going to be without a bike. Life got in the way, of course. Got to my 18th birthday, had no idea what I wanted to do, so joined the forces for a while, did a few years there, came out, still had no idea what I wanted to do after that, and went travelling for a while. Got involved with security, that type of thing, for a few years. Again, it wasn't something that I wanted to do long term, and I was always a bit of a drifter anyway. And I decided I was going to move to the UK, and I was back in the mid-90s, kind of late 90s actually, kind of around 1998, that kind of way. I had no idea what I wanted to do though, and believe it or not, the only reason that I'm in Bristol is that I was working in a job in Wicklow, County Wicklow in Ireland, that I absolutely hated. I was working for a computer company, and my boss was an absolute and utter bellend. He was the biggest dickhead you could ever meet in your life. Actually, even when I think about him now, I just want to slap the shit out of him, because he was one of those guys that you just think to yourself, how did someone like this get into a position of authority? Anyway, I went in one morning and my boss started having to go at me, saying you need to do this and you need to do this and you need to do that. And I went, you know what, Sean, fuck you. I quit. And I walked out. And as soon as I got to the car park, I thought to myself, what the fuck have you just done, Stu? I got into my car in Wicklow and I drove down the coast road to Rosslare. I went to the Irish Ferries check-in booth, bought a ticket to Pembroke, and decided, right, I'm going to seek my fame and fortune in the UK. And that's exactly what I did. However, going back to the original point, the only reason I'm in Bristol is I was coming over the Prince of Wales Bridge and I got a puncture as I was coming over the Prince of Wales Bridge. And I had a spare tire, but I knew if I got another puncture I was going to be goosed. So I thought I better go to Bristol and get this puncture repaired. So I went into Bristol and I found a quick fit garage which was on Gloucester Road. It's not there anymore, actually, it's closed down now. And went in there and they said, yeah, we can fix your puncture for you, no problem, it'll be about 20 minutes. But next door to the, oh, look at this dickhead, thank you very much, what an absolute flute. Next door to the puncture repair place was a recruitment place that had loads of jobs advertised, and I was looking at the jobs and they were all jobs that I could do with my eyes closed. So I went in and I said, what about one of these jobs? And the guy said, yeah, can you do an interview today? And I went, yep, no problem. So the guy sent me out to Whitchurch, which is on the other side of Bristol. I did an interview at 11 o'clock in the morning, and that afternoon at 2 o'clock I was working at that company, and I stayed there for 6 years. And after that, everything is kind of history after that, because then I just started kind of working my way up, and I now work as a kind of senior business analyst, and I've been in Bristol for, I think it's 27 years. Last month, in fact, it was 27 years. And the other reason I'm in Bristol, of course, is today, so I thought I might as well do that as well. Anyway, back to the camera. You can see that it's got much darker now. I'm going to put on my little spots here as well, which I've just put on. Doesn't make a shit bit of difference because they're very dirty at the moment, so I'm going to turn it back off again. There we go. But yeah, it should be interesting to see what this video turns out like. And by the way, folks, I'm really amateur at this stuff, and this is my first time doing a bike video, so if you want to leave a nasty comment, I'm going to delete them. No, I'm not. Nasty comments, while they're not welcome, you can leave any comment you like, don't worry, I won't get offended. But there's a lot of keyboard warriors out there, isn't there? Okay, so we're back on the road to Pill now. So basically we've taken the long way around home. Again, this is all a 40-mile-an-hour zone, as you'll see. So yeah, fun and games. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I do enjoy making them, and the one thing I've noticed about when you make videos on a bike as well, and as I said, I'm really new to all this, making videos on bikes and this, that and the other, and I've never documented any kind of bike rides before. But what I really like is that as you're talking, it's almost as if you're well, I know you're talking to yourself, but you're also talking to maybe a few hundred people that may watch these videos, and it's really good of you guys to kind of look in here and see what this is about. But yeah, fun and games. Okay, this is a 30-mile-an-hour zone again. It's understandable as well, because this can get very busy here as well. There's a really brilliant coffee shop here, by the way, folks. If you're ever in Bristol on the way to Pill, or over to Avonmouth or Portishead, there's a pub here called the George Inn, which is that one. But right next to the George Inn, There's beer garden and there's a little restaurant just in there, and it's fantastic. The food in there, it's fabulous. It's not the cheapest in the world. I think you pay about £4 for a cup of coffee in there, but the coffee is superb. The staff are brilliant. There's a lovely atmosphere in there. I've been there many times, because as I said, it's only about 1.5 miles from my house. So we're on the home stretch now to home. Probably just over a mile to home now, maybe a little bit more actually. This road for the last couple of days has been closed because they've been filling in potholes, because the potholes here were absolutely atrocious. They haven't done a very good job though, because you can see there's still quite a few. They've done a few. There was one here, that one that we're just passing over now. That was horrendous. That was like the Grand Canyon. I could have got a fishing license there, but a foot pike in there that I probably could have gone fishing for. But anyway, there you go. So again, all of this is a 40-mile-an-hour zone, and I'm doing 36. So come on, Stu, speed up a bit. Don't be the knob that slows down. There's the X4 bus coming, just passing us now. Brilliant bus service. The bus stop is less than 30 seconds walk from my house, and that bus leaves every 30 minutes, and it takes about 20 minutes to get into Bristol city centre from my house, which is brilliant. But yet, where I am, a little place called Pill, it's great because it just means that I can get into town, not having to worry about bike. If I want to go for a pint with a couple of my friends in town, I can get the bus into town. Sometimes I get a taxi back, or if it's early enough, which is not very usual, I'll get the bus back as well. But as you get older, my tolerance for beer has dropped quite a bit. There was a time where I could go out on a school night, drink 10-15 pints of lager, and still get up the following day fresh as a daisy. Whereas now, if I drink 4 or 5 pints of lager, it takes me 2 days to recover. So maybe that's just a sign of age. Yeah, being 56 probably doesn't help. My God, I'm 56. Jesus, where did that go? I remember what I was doing on my 21st birthday party back in Cove in County Cork in Ireland. But yeah, bloody hell, time flies when you're having fun, eh? There we go. Again, they've changed this from a 30 to a 20 in the last few months as well. They put in these silly speed humps as well in the middle of the road. I don't know why they do that, to be honest with you, because cars just kind of straddle them, so they don't really stop anything. If you're going to put a speed hump in, put a proper one in. Don't be doing half-assed. Another great pub there in Pill, it's called the Anchor. Superb food, superb drink. The owners are really nice as well. Pill is just a lovely place, full stop actually, because it's not quite in the country. It's the problem with Pill, I suppose, is it's becoming a bit of a suburb of Bristol now, because we're constantly being told that we need new houses. So planning permission was granted recently to build lots and lots of new houses. So kind of the greenbelt area around here is slowly disappearing. There's a lot of wildlife around here. In my garden, for example, we get otters coming in every now and again. Only today I had 2 foxes, a couple of hedgehogs. So yeah, it's a fabulous place. It really is. And during the winter months, when the skies are clear here, the street lights kind of turn off at about 11 o'clock. So if anybody's into astronomy, it's probably one of the best places in the country to view the stars from, because you get some light pollution from Bristol and the surrounding areas, but not a lot of light pollution here in Pill, which is fantastic. So anyway, we're nearly there. Just coming back towards the garage now. So anyway, folks, listen, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, do whatever you want. As I said, I am doing a big trip in April the 3rd to be exact, so I'm hoping to kind of document some of that trip down to France and Spain. So please feel free to watch that when it drops. And what would be even better is if you could share that video as well, because it really helps. It's Friday, so have a great weekend, and we'll speak to you all again soon. Bye bye now.